Hey, it's Derek from WatchMeCode.net. How's it going today? Yeah, okay. Well, I'm not exactly doing well today. I'm actually in a pretty bad mood. Kind of, frankly, pissed off right now. I've been struggling in dealing with, well, AWS in this case. Just the configuration of it is kind of nightmarish, and I'm seriously wanting to punch someone right now. But the thing is, you know, developers, we get this kind of complex about us. We think, oh, I'm so, so much better at development than the people that wrote this garbage, clearly. Because, I mean, why would anybody ever do this? I mean, these are seriously the feelings that I'm having right now about, who would make a decision like this? Who would get this fundamental documentation wrong? Why would this part of the documentation tell me one thing and that part tell me something else? And how do I know which one is correct? And there's this constant level of frustration that I have in software development, quite honestly. And most of the time I push through it and I get things done, but there's this seething anger and resentment that just continuously builds up in the back of my mind, and every now and then lets itself out, and it's very unfortunate. It's not really pleasant at all. And the truth is, it bothers me that I get so angry at other developers. I'm not talking about getting mad because a piece of technology won't work, because quite frankly, most technology is pretty simple. It's not usually a technology problem, in fact. It's usually a human problem that we run into. Yeah, sure, there are bugs and hardware failures and things like that, but most of what I do, at least as a software developer, is dealing with more of the human side of things. When dealing with API design, when dealing with software design, when dealing with putting all the pieces together based on other people's work, it's all human issues that we're really running into, and I find myself when I get really pissed off, like I've been this morning, having to take a step back and think and remind myself, developers are still humans. Technical writers, the people writing the documentation, they're still humans. All of the frustration that I have right now, all of the anger, all of the resentment toward these stupid ideas, these bad implementations, whatever I'm saying in my head, probably a whole lot worse than that, quite frankly. It's not fair of me to think these things about other people for a lot of reasons. For one, I don't know why the documentation is wrong. Maybe the team that was working on the documentation wasn't told that it didn't work this way. Maybe they were told one thing, and in reality it did something else. There's constantly situations that we're never aware of. We don't know what other people are going through. We don't have their life, their experience, their situations to consider when we're getting mad at the API design, when we're getting mad at the documentation failures, when we're having the problems and getting pissed off about all these things. And quite frankly, it's a problem that all of humanity faces. It's not just software developers. It's the constant not knowing other people's life and experience. It's never easy. It's never really something that we can get into. We can't get into other people's heads easily and really understand what they're going through. But we tend to have this problem as developers of just assuming the worst for some reason. I'm not really sure why. I'm not sure how we came to this place in software development. Maybe it's that we think we're better than everyone else because we're so much more logical and rational about our decisions, and that's garbage. That's rationalizing the problems and your terrible personality, quite frankly. I mean, I do it myself all the time. It's human nature to do that, but that doesn't mean it's right. It doesn't mean it's okay, and it doesn't mean that software developers don't do it. Quite frankly, I think developers we're just human, really. I mean, we're no better and we're no worse than anyone else. We have problems, we have stress, We have issues that we deal with on a regular basis. We go through the same emotions, the same toil, the same labor, the same everything as anybody else on this planet. We just happen to get paid to try and make technology work. And that doesn't really make us any more or less human, any better or anything else than anyone else out there. So the next time you get frustrated, the next time you really get pissed off at some documentation, some API design, some choice that other people have made with which you are now forced to live, you'll try to step back for a second and think, okay, under what circumstances would I have made this kind of decision? What would have caused me, what in my life could cause me to have a decision like this made, to be in this circumstance where I would make a mistake, or I would document something wrong, or I just would have, less than optimal design in someone else's eyes. It's pretty easy to see that we are all human after all.